Hello there. My name is Rob Kerrison. I'm from Tutor Doctor in Cambridge. We're a tutoring company that works with schools and with private families, and we've been doing this for about 12 years. Um, we cover all ages and subjects, and we work with children on their studies through to primary, GCSE, and A level. Here today just to introduce a facet of what we do called X skills. This is executive functioning coaching for students that we work with. So be about 7 or 8 minutes, and hopefully this will be clear. Just let the video roll, and we'll take you through all the stages as we go. But just sit back and watch, I suppose. So X skills from Tutor Doctor. These are life skills. This is so we're a tutoring company, but what we're doing here is we're trying to bring the element of study skills into broader reach. So these are things that students and their parents would find very useful right now and going forward. Um, the output of this will be autonomy and motivation. So they're really critical aspects. This is about getting the student to really own what they do, how they go about it. And again, this is about establishing habits that we with them now and hopefully forever. Um, there's especially the last few years, which have been a really tough time for a lot of students. Um, there are challenges, and this is about how we can help the children overcome those challenges and better their performance. A phrase that we use all the time is to help children be as good as they can be. So I might keep referencing that. I do say the same stuff all the time as my team will say to you. Um, this is a specialist program. We've been introducing study skills as part of what we do for many years now. But what we've uncovered, and we've been piloting this for the last sort of 6 months or so, is having X skills as a separate program. So rather than sort of attaching it to the end of a geography session or a math session, we're setting up in its own right. So this is just about establishing those skills. Of course, there's often a context around geography or maths or whatever it might be, but this is about having a specialist program that just focuses on these broad skills, and it's delivered by people we have recruited to coach the children purely on this side of what we do. So these aren't necessarily geography or maths tutors. These are people that are X skills coaches and have been trained accordingly. So what are executive functioning skills? It's a bit of a grand title at the top here, but this is about cognitive abilities. This is about how students and everybody really can apply themselves to the best of their abilities to handle what they might have in front of them, set those goals and make sure they deliver to the best of their ability. For X skills, we've honed this down into 5 specific areas, which is around organization, planning, time management, prioritization, and goal setting. There's a bit of an outline on the left-hand side from one of the informational leaflets we put together fairly recently. We did this with our colleagues in Canada. I can see that it's got the American spelling, so sorry about that. But hopefully this can explain a little bit about what each of the things stand for. So to ensure that we can deliver in the right way every time, we need to follow a process. There are 4 stages to our process. The kickoff, and this is something that we've been doing for a long time, for 12 years now, is starting every tutoring program with a consultation. Now, for private families, this could well be meeting up after school. Typically, we do this online, and we would understand the student's situation, where they are, where they'd like to be, and how we can help in simple terms. For the school clients that we work with, we'd sit down with the Senko or the deputy head, and we'd work through the plan for the specific students. But yeah, wherever we can, we'd be keen to meet the student from the very outset. We then pass on the links so that the student can go through the e-learning course. This has been pulled together. It's a really strong interactive program. We're going to show you a little about that in a minute. And then we'll get, once that's been done, we'll get into the meat and drink of it really, which is to kick off with goals and organizations. We'll do that in the first week or so. Really clear what we're trying to achieve and what success looks like. and then setting up what those getting organized, getting an appreciation of how we can make sure we go about things in the right way. And then we'll get into the active coaching, and we'll explain a bit more about this, but this is about getting into a solid rhythm, working in the same way with the same person week on week to get those strong habits in place. So this is week 1 and 2. Set the goals and organizations, do the e-learning course. We have talked about smart goal setting and task organization. And then beyond that, oh, it's covered up a little bit. Sorry about that. So this is, we'll start every week with a weekly planning. So what are we trying to achieve this week? And then checking in halfway through the week saying, how are we getting on? So that is the process that we will just run and run and run. And that will be the habit that we'll get into with the students that we're coaching. So as you'll see on this screen here, hopefully it's all working good. That's great. So this is our e-learning course. You can see some information moving around in the background. This is actually a straight drop out of the e-learning course that's been put together. Oh, and this is Becky, who we work with, who wrote the course. She's an ex-special needs teacher, and she's been basically pulling this together, this whole program, and has been working on the testing of it. As you can see, we'll work through the different stages for the student. We've accelerated this. They'll click their way through it, really see how this can help them, how they can use the X skills, and where things go from here. So hopefully you can see that going on in the background. Oh, we have these quizzes at the end of every module that will just get the students to answer a few questions based on what we've told them. And then again, I mentioned before, we've got the goals, and here's Becky again, and we'll outline the goals and the SMART goals and what we mean by that. And then the students have been through this before, don't get me wrong. I mean, all the schools would have explained to the children about the importance of setting goals, etc. But the benefit of this program is really about getting into this positive habit, working with the same coach who's there purely to help the children out and make sure that they can establish those habits for the students. Like anything, we need to be able to measure the success of it. We will do these scorecards, and again, it's a very interactive format. The children can do this on an iPad or laptop and score themselves. And we'll ask about their approach to their schoolwork and more stuff besides. We'll do this at the beginning, so before we start the coaching, halfway through, and then at the end to see how's it gone. So it's again, this is about autonomy and ownership of the student. We want them to do this. This is not something that's being done to them. They're going to lead their way through this, and it's become their thing. So I think that's really vital for the success of this program. But we're really pleased how these tools have come together, the scorecards and the training, and the response we've got from the pilots has been really excellent. So these are the actual results from the pilots, as I say, that have been going on the last few months. We've been doing it mainly in Canada and also one situation in the UK. We've hit good growth beyond what we were expecting to do in terms of the progress of the students that we're working with. What's important to say though is, I keep saying the same thing, but this is about establishing habits. So you won't get the maximum impact in 2 weeks or in a month. It will just continue to build. You won't really ever finesse these X skills until you're in your mid-20s. So, and then they'll be well established. It will just be your way of doing things. So that's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to initiate this change of approach, and initial impacts are really, really positive. But we would expect to go way beyond what we've got in these numbers. Couple of testimonials, some interesting cases, both here, and we've got a video actually where we've had permission from the parents that we can use this, from a couple of our Canadian situations where which we can send links through to the schools and to the families, so you can see kind of how it happens with the X skills. But Benjamin's a great example. I mean, he was a pretty disorganized lad, and really benefited from the whole program, and was fantastic to work with. And yeah, he's just asked for us to keep going and going. He's now off to university, but he wants to keep going with his coach because they've really established such a strong bond, and he wants to make sure he keeps going with this level of organization and application. So basically, what happens next? We just need to get confirmation with the schools and with the families or whoever we're working with on this, that you would like us to proceed. We'll scope out what success looks like, when you'd like to start, which days and times make most sense. Again, we're doing a lot of this directly with the schools, so it will be about working with the school in the first instance. They will then pass on some information with regard to the families. So you may be watching this video as a parent or as a school. And then from there, we will set up the consultation with the student. So say hello, tell them a bit about us, find out a bit about them, and then that will set things up nicely for where we would like to be going together. We will then take all the information from that consultation, from our debrief from the school, to assign the X Skills coach. So we will have a small squad of coaches, and it's about finding the right sort of the right match really for the student in question. And then really kick everything off with this e-learning, which the student can do in their own time. We'll send them a link and they can crack on with that, and that will then come back to us, and we can very much start the process with the tutor. So we can turn things around pretty quickly normally. And that's it. So look, thank you very much for watching. My contact details are on here. Obviously, you can just go back and watch the video again. And if you've got questions, do drop us an email. That's probably the best bet. And that's either at cambridge@tutordoctor.co.uk or norwich@tutordoctor.co.uk. Ask for me, and I'll get back in contact with you and do my best to answer any questions you might have. Thanks again. Cheers for now. Bye.